Yeah. All right, we are live.
Yay!
Yay!
Oh, I see the live button.
Alrighty. So I'm gonna pull up Q&A just in case, and then that's set. All right. Okay. So what do you guys want to talk about first? Because there's like so much we could start with. I feel like
It doesn't matter.
it doesn't matter. Do we want to go through like each book?
Oh no, Sarah Jane just left.
Oh no, I'll get her again.
She just walked in. We'll just wait a minute, so...
Yeah,
She might...
Oh no. Oh no. It's happening. Yeah.
I will resend... Well, she should be able to go through the same link that I sent her before, so she should be fine.
Yeah. Aw.
Oh, okay. Oh. We're gonna have technical difficulties like all day on our computers today. You're like the only one with a working anything.
And that's weird because like my internet, if I go to like upload even like a 5-minute video to YouTube, it takes like it'll come up like 300 minutes. I'm like, oh my god. So that's why I do it at night when like nobody's using the internet.
Yeah. Mine's really fast for some reason, which I didn't even realize until I went to visit my parents over Christmas because I uploaded like 2 videos when I was at my parents' house. And at my parents' house, it took like 4 hours to upload. Here, it takes like 10 minutes to be uploaded and processed.
Yep, I'll like go to bed and make sure my computer doesn't go to sleep, and I'll just turn the display off, and hopefully it'll upload by the morning, and then I'll make it public like later. Because there's no way I'm letting my internet not be working already if it's slow by uploading a video all day.
Exactly.
Sorry. I'm cleaning my dirty glasses.
Oh, I did that before. Don't worry. They're always really, really bad. Like, all the time. I'm like, how do I even see out of these?
I know. Well, like, sometimes I don't notice they're dirty, and then all of a sudden I go to, like, do something, and I'm like, there's everything.
Right. There we go. She's back.
My internet crashed.
Oh, no, now you're really soft.
Oh.
Talking to your microphone.
It'll work out eventually.
Can you hear me?
That's so funny. We can hear you. It's just quiet.
I will shout.
Right. Perfect. Perfect. Okay.
Cool.
So now that you're back, that might happen a few times today with one of us, so it's fine.
Yeah, that's life.
Do we want to go through like each individual book and just like talk about stuff that way, or just like in general stuff, or like what do you think?
Yeah, why don't we all go through and just say like our overall feels for each 3 books and like what we rated them, and then we'll go into like obviously everything.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll just die from emotions.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like preparing myself. I have my water. I'm like.
My water.
So
I'm staring at the books.
Right.
Okay.
I don't want to look at them because I'm mad at them.
Well, yeah, mine are in the other room because I'm actually in my bedroom where I don't film, and where I do film is in the other spot. But all right, I'll just start a little because I read Shadow and Bone December or November. I forget. So I read it before you guys, and I liked it, but it wasn't. I don't know, like I kind of liked all the characters, but they were just kind of there, and the world was good, but I didn't have a full picture in my head, and I guess that comes from not understanding Russian culture and history overall anyways, so like for her to like put all these like words in there, I'm like, I don't know how to say any of this, and I'm just like, ugh. But it was so good. I think I gave it a 4 out of 5. I enjoyed the world, I enjoyed the magic and the summoners, and I liked the stuff that she had. I remember in Shadow and Bone she had like, I guess stuff in the back and in the front to like understand a little bit, and then there's the map, and overall I understood that there was the Darkling and the Void, the Shadow Zone there, and like, so I don't know, it was good and I enjoyed it. What were your thoughts, guys, on the first 2?
I loved the first one. I remember reading it and being like a third of the way in and just knowing that I was going to love it. That probably had a lot to do with the Darkling, but I think I loved it straight away, even though when I opened it and I saw a map, and when I see a map I'm partly happy, but I'm also like slightly filled with dread. Because even though I love it, I look at it and I'm like, oh, this is going to be hard to understand, and I know I'm going to keep going back and forth, but no, I loved the first book. I was obsessed.
Yeah. The first book for me was the same way. I liked it. Like, I wasn't sure from the very beginning, and then once we had, again, like the Darkling, once we had her, discovering her powers and like everything kind of blowing up, that's when I was like, yes. And then I was like, okay, it's definitely 4 stars. But then when we got to the scene, which I've talked about like a million times, when we got to the scene where she finally like gets her powers,
Yeah.
favorite scene in the entire book where she finally realizes like, oh, like I was holding them back and they came like the way that it was described of them like rushing to her, and I just was like, it's so good. Like that was my favorite, and I was like, I love her. She's amazing. I love her. So that's when it was like definitely. I was gonna give Shadow and Bone 5 stars, and I might go back and give it 5 stars at some point. But at the end, when like she ran away and she was like with Maul, I was like, meh, meh. And that's when I was like maybe like 4.5. Meh. But that's just like that's not anything against the book. It's just like I don't like that relationship, so I couldn't like.
Well, yeah, I understand. Like, because for me, like, I enjoyed Mal at first because Mal was giving me like the same vibe as like PETA, and I'm Team PETA for Hunger Games. So I was like, oh, like you could just tell he loves her, like whatever. And then, like some parts where I was like, bleh. And then I liked the Darkling because he was so intense, and like when he came in, it was just like, oh, like here's the Darkling, like, and that's how she felt. That's how I felt. And I was like, yeah.
Right. It was so funny about the Darkling because we all, I think, felt like at first you're like, he's not that bad, and you're like, are we? Because I know Sarah Jane and I were like, we're like, are we really messed up? And like, are we not just seeing that like he's really bad? Like, I don't get it because usually you have the villain be like, you know, like really bad and get better, like and people like that. So we're just like, okay. So is this as bad as he gets? Because like I really like him, and then we're like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Do you remember? I didn't think that. Like we thought. No, wait. I thought because I remember messaging you and saying, no. It's going to turn out that like he's not bad. She's because she hasn't spoke to him. Do you remember? Right. I thought that it was going to like be a lie, and she was wrong about him, and then it kept going on. I was like, no, Sam, I'm wrong. It's not.
Right.
He is bad.
I was kind of like. I was up in the air. Well, like when Bagra did the whole like, you know, he is the black-haired dick and da-da-da. I was like, are we sure? Are we sure though? And then it was like, oh, we're sure. Yeah, like that's real. Okay, oops.
Okay. Yeah. So honestly, in book 1, since we only have Mal and the Darkling, I'm assuming both of you were Team Darkling.
Pretty much, yeah.
Oh, I thought it was gonna be Alina, I'm so bad, and then he'd like, you know, start to feel for her, and then he'd get his redemption, and you know, I thought I knew where this was gonna go. I thought it was the plotline, and then when it didn't happen, I was kind of like, oh, which is good. It's good. It was different, but yeah, I was Team Darkling. I thought that was Endgame.
Right. I kind of knew it wasn't Endgame after book 2. Like I was pretty sure by book 2, I was like, she's gonna kill him. But I wanted them, and I said this in my discussion, like, I wanted them to kind of die together, honestly, because I'm so morbid. So I was like, they're going to kill each other because they're perfect for each other, and da-da-da. But, yeah, like, at the first book, I was definitely, like, shipping her and the Darkling. And then the second book, it was like, hi, Nikolai. And then the third book, it was like, hi, Darkling and Nikolai. But I knew the Darkling was going to die. Like, there was no way... I knew that she wasn't going to redeem him at that point. Like, she just wasn't.
Exactly.
So
and she didn't want to redeem him either, did she? Like, she didn't really want to. She just wanted him to go.
Right.
Well, I think, like, in the first book, she saw him, and we saw him for who he was, and who Leigh Bardugo painted him as, is just like, oh, this guy he's bad, but he's not that bad. Like, you can kind of like him. But then in the second book, we find out that he is what's the name for the person? Yeah. So he's actually like this evil villain that's been around for decades, and you're like, maybe he's not that nice anymore. Like
when he pushed it and it just like killed all those people, I was like, oh, this is too far for redemption.
Yeah, so he went from being
crap. Yeah,
he went from being bad boy to being villain, and you're like, okay, now maybe not.
You know, like I could accept a few deaths, he could still come back from that, but when it was like hundreds, I was like, no.
Yeah, that was when it got bad. But at the same time, I still was like, oh, I still love him. You know, like it was just.
But I mean, honestly, he ranked higher than Mal because Mal just turned into a giant jerk in the beginning of the book. Like
in Siege and Storm, he was bad.
Like to make her suffer. Yeah, to make her suffer like that just to be together. Like that's not love to me.
No. And he
But
could
the
not
Darkling was
handle
so
it.
layered. When you think about it, like the Darkling had so many layers. That's what made him interesting. And a lot of the time, personally, I feel like the best friend is very, very two-dimensional.
Mm-hmm.
Like we
Yeah.
liked him more in the third book, didn't we? But in the beginning, what we saw was what we got, and there was no more real depth to him.
It was very hard to kind of get past that with Ma. Like it took me the whole, and it was only when we were like giving up on that relationship, or at least when I was giving up on that relationship of her and Ma, was when I started liking him because I was like, okay, it's done. They're gonna be mature and they're gonna be over it. And then I was like, at the end, I'm like, crap, they're not over it.
Well, and then I think that was the whole play on why we all got suspicious, because we were like, okay, the relationship obviously isn't going to go anywhere. Why is he still hanging around? Like, why are we still finding out something about him? Like, there's obviously something going on here. Like, he's got to be more than just the friend that's chilling with the main character. So.
Right.
I can't say I ever really felt like they had that much chemistry.
No, I didn't.
No.
It was more like she settled. There was no chemistry. There was no like intensity. There was no.
Yeah, the sex scene, like in the like garden thing or whatever, like the greenhouse or whatever. I was just like, oh, like I was just not. I don't like that. I don't like when it's like have sex with your first love before you go to die. It's like.
It was so vanilla. I know I always refer like, things to food, but he was just vanilla, and nobody wants vanilla. Like in the beginning, but you can't live off vanilla.
You can't.
No.
You need a little chocolate.
Right.
And you need the sprinkles and the sauce.
Right, the sauce.
Now have no sauce. That is what I am sticking with.
None.
We do have one question really quick.
Go ahead.
So, let me see. Okay, so Angela asks, hey guys, just tuned in. My question is, how did you guys like the Russian elements of the series?
I'm very clueless on anything to do with like, places, and I'm going to be completely honest about that. So, to me, it was no different. This makes me sound so ignorant, but to me, it was no different than like a completely constructed like fantasy world. Like I didn't really understand it, but that was okay. Like I didn't really connect to it, and it made me quite interested in it. But it wasn't like I was reading about something that I actually knew anything about previously, if that makes any sense.
Right. I felt very similar to you. I know that a lot of Russian speakers had problems with it, and that they were very angry about it, and that apparently the Russian language that she did use is not accurate. Like the orphanage leader, Anna Kuya, or whatever her name is, actually is like a swear word in Russian. Like it's like asshole or motherfucker or something. Sorry, guys. So I know that a lot of people were like really mad that are Russian speakers. Obviously, for us, we're not, so we can't comment on the Russian language part because it looked like flavoring to us. I mean, we don't know the difference. But
go ahead.
No, I can see it that pulling people out of the story, the language-wise. But all of the actual Russian elements, like I had a very easy time imagining like Imperial Russia in my head. And then with Leigh Bardugo's Pinterest page, which I know Kristen you've been on too, it's like full of stuff. So you're like, oh, it's very easy to kind of get pictures of everything and how they're dressed and how they look, and just even that like Russian thing.
I haven't found this. I need
to. You need to.
So many more conversations. It would be going, I will Google.
Yeah, Leigh Bardugo has a Pinterest page where she pins like different things, and I got nervous because Sam told me about it like middle of the second book, and like I saw the Rune and Rising pin, and I was like, don't look at the board because it'll just ruin everything. Right. But for me, the Russian elements, to answer Angela's question real quick, is I don't think I've ever read a book with Russian elements. I hate history. Like history class for me. It's just, I could sit there and study a book for 30 days and take a test, and I would still fail it because history is not the right side of the brain or is the right side. I don't know. It's not the brain that I use. So for me, it didn't really make it indicative whether I liked the book or not, because to me it was just a Russian element was there. Whether I knew it was true or fake or, muddled in the middle, it didn't matter to me because I didn't really know. I didn't have any knowledge of it. So for me, it was there, and it was cool, and it was a Russian element, but I'm not comparing it to anything. I don't have anything to look for in it because I don't know much about it.
I just gave it the same sort of respect and imagination that I would any fictional world. I didn't give it I didn't have any connections to anything real, and I expect if you did have those connections, if those words were, as you say, like not wrong, but like misinterpreted, or she put different.
Right.
I think you could have issues with that. But to someone who's completely, ignorance is bliss.
Right. And with this, it is, because it seems like with a lot of people that are Russian speakers, it really made them not like the books, which is such a shame, because they are so good. And to have you, but I mean, if somebody was, writing a book with English parts, and that wasn't part of the rest of the book, we'd be like, what the heck is this? Like, that's not right, So, I mean, I get why people do feel that way.
Yeah.
But the actual, the world building elements were great, I think. Like, the actual, the clothes and kind of how the political systems were set up and that kind of thing was very Russian.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I liked it, and I want a Kefka.
Yeah. Yeah.
So badly.
Yes. I want this dressing gown, and then when I wake up, I'll feel epic.
Right. I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
So thanks, Angela, for the question. That was great.
And I wouldn't have thought of that.
No, me either.
Oh, I need
cool. What'd she need, her charger?
Yeah.
Oh no.
Hurry.
Right. Before it dies. All right. So how about we talk about who our favorite non-main character is? So not the Darkling, not Maul. It wouldn't be Maul anyway. Not Nikolai, and not Alina. Who is our favorite of the side characters?
Go ahead, Sarah Jane.
I wouldn't say she was like my absolute favorite, but the first person who comes to my mind is Zoya, because instantly I thought that Zoya was going to be the nasty one. She's the pretty. She's like the mean girl at school, isn't she?
Right.
And they always kind of get their comeuppance, like it's like a punishment to be pretty or to be successful, and I don't like that. Whereas with her, how she was, that wasn't actually offensive to Alina. Like, it's not. Do you know what I mean? She was who she was. So I liked that she stayed that way, and that she still became a worthy part of their team without changing. I really liked that about her, even though she wasn't my favorite from the beginning. When you look at her character arc, I really liked it, and I liked that she wasn't like lessened for being, say, pretty and popular, because she is as well. You know what I mean?
Yep. I'll go next. I mean, my favorite, I think, as soon as you asked it, I thought Genya. Because Genya, to me, she was a character that was there in the beginning, and I kind of liked her because it was like Alina's gal pal, even though Alina didn't like her at first. But then Genya grows into this person, and then you find out all about her, and when she was standing in front of everybody saying, like, don't pity me, and don't take me that way, because I don't pity myself, like, let's just move on, and she's standing there being basically used as, used for sex. She's been tortured. She's got an eye patch on. It's like, and she's still like, don't pity me. I'm just like, yes, you are awesome. Like, thank you, Genya. So, like, for me, it was more so like that deep story. What?
I said the female character arcs were just awesome.
Right.
Yeah, they were so good, and that was funny because Sam had said, like, I love the girl power that's happening in this book, and it was like, at a point there was so much girl power.
It's true. Yeah, I loved the lady relationships. I loved Genya in the first book. I really liked Genya's tailor ability. Like, obviously there's more badass Grisha powers in that, but I was like, if I had a Grisha power, I probably want the tailor ability, because it's just so. It's so, you can use it like every day. Like, you can't just like kill somebody every day being a heart like render or whatever, but you can like I can put some makeup on like instantly. Like, that'd be perfect. So I really liked that. And then I didn't have any feelings about her in the second book because of what happened. But then the third book, when she was like, all the rape stuff that came out, and the scene with David where he like said that, like, I know metal and you're made of steel and stuff, and I was just like, that's like the perfect like description for her. Like, she's so she's so good.
And I love that she loved him from day one, even when she looked the way she looked. It wasn't like she didn't like him and then she settled for him. It was just
she
as
always
Zoya had a character arc that she was that way and she stayed that way. It was nice to see her start off as this really beautiful person, but then she ended up this person who was beautiful inside, and she'd always been that way.
Right.
I just love the way they developed. I just loved it.
So cute. My other favorite side character is Harshaw, and I know we only saw him at the end. So I really shipped Harshaw and Zoya, like a lot, and I don't even know what it was, but I was just like, I want them together. But I loved Harshaw's little like cat, and he has like the little like ginger mohawk.
Oh god,
And I
that
was
was so
like,
funny.
who even are you? And he's just like a little crazy, like a little insane. And I just loved him. I just loved him so much. And so him like kind of not surviving was very upsetting.
Yeah.
He was just so like we didn't see a lot of him, but I got like a really good sense of his personality. And that's what I loved about this. Is like you really even the small characters, especially in Ruin and Rising, you got like everybody's personality, and it was so good. Oh, baby.
Yeah,
One character that
characters.
we didn't mention, but I don't consider her a side character. Like she's kind of a little lower than side. But is it Bagdra?
I don't know
Bagra.
Yeah.
I call it Bagra.
I said Bagdra.
Bagra. I love
But
her.
her character arc was cool too, because hers kind of took off immediately. Well, not immediately, but in the first book, so you really got to see her. And I thought she was hysterical. Is it in Ruin and Rising at the end when she's just like laying in the bed and like the little boy will come around the servant and she's like, boy, like I was just dying.
Right, she's funny. I felt so bad for her, and I loved the backstory we got for her and how everything was connected kind of through her, and the way that her character was built, and just like her, the whole family's very tragic, and like she accidentally killed her sister, and her mother never really loved her, and she's like, honestly, I mean, she's probably a little, she wasn't as conniving as like Darkling was or whatever, but she's obviously as powerful because she lasted just as longer, so it makes me kind of sad that she faded in the background for her child like that, sort of, but also because she saw, like, oh crap, like, he's going down bad road. But the end of her, when she threw herself off the mountain,
oh my god, I know.
The worst. And then, like, when, Alina was like, she saw, like, the Darkling's face, like, everybody loves their mom, and I just was like, I cannot. Like, it was bad. But it was so good for her because she's so stubborn. And so, of course, she would be like, I'm just going to die and, like, take her shit with me. Like, of course she would do that. Of course she would do that. It was just, like, the perfect ending for her. But it was also, like, just so sad because she lasted so long.
And I wasn't expecting, like, that to occur. So when I was, like, reading it and all of a sudden she just, like, launches off the side, I was like, what? No, she's not dead yet. Like, something's happening here.
Again. I was like, what?
Yeah. I was, like, hyperventilating. I was like, no, I love you. Like, it was just so bad.
I was just like, this lady just offed herself. Like, she just, bloop. I was like, what? This is it?
Yeah. And she was just so sassy, and how she, like, interacted with everybody, and, like, how she kind of loved Nikolai. Like, she was like, he's gonna get himself in trouble, but she secretly loves him. Yeah. And just, like, and the little boy, too, like, Misha or whatever, where she, like, obviously he loved her so much, and so you knew that she had, like, a soft side to her, because this little kid, like, really loves her or whatever.
Mm-hmm. She was like a wicked grandma with a heart.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, she seemed so wicked, and you understood why she was. You understood why she was the way she was, and you understood that the Darkling was the way he was because she tried to give him everything because she had nothing.
Yeah. And also, like, obviously with them being basically immortal and losing people all the time, like, they have to deal with mortals, people with a lifespan dying all the time, it probably would be a little, like, closed off, especially her just being like, okay, well, you're gonna die, so I'm not gonna get, like, real close to you. Like, why would I bother to do that when I'm gonna be around for, like, hundreds more years? Like, that obviously would harden a person up, especially someone like her.
Like, son. Like, I'm gonna live forever with my evil child.
Right. Oh, poor father. Yeah, she was great though. I loved her.
Yeah, definitely. I love the writing style of these books.
Yeah.
Like, that was something that absolutely amazing. Like, the way
it was so perfect.
Yeah, and sometimes you have a book that's great overall, but this book was great overall, and each sentence was great. Like, individually, page by page, the writing was phenomenal, and then as a storyteller, she was great as well. She had both.
Yeah, there wasn't much fluff or anything. Like everything that was in there was purposeful. Like that you were reading, there was a purpose to it. It wasn't just like, oh, let's just describe the castle for 45 pages. It's like, this is what the castle looks like. Move on. We got to tell the story. So it's good.
Yeah, the chapters were short enough, and
sorry, you go.
The chapters were like short enough that like I don't like when a book, especially YA, has like really long chapters. And the chapters were short enough that it kept everything rolling at a reasonable clip instead of it being like, okay, I'm getting bogged. Like, I never felt bogged down where I'm just like, I'm not in the mood, I'm just going to put it down for a while. Like, I was always just like, just keep reading.
Yeah, I felt like she nailed description within like a couple of sentences. She didn't need to describe something for 2 pages because she could nail it in like a paragraph.
Right.
Like that masquerade party. It was just like, it was just amazing. The way she described it, I got it like that, and they were just sentences. I just kept looking at them going, that is just perfection.
I loved, there's so many things. When I reread this, I'm going to tab it, because just so many things were so good, especially, like, in Shadow and Bone, yes, obviously, like the scene I talked about earlier, but Siege and Storm and Ruin and Rising was when she just, like, hit, like, just the perfect stride, and so many lines, dialogue and description, it was just like, these are so good, and I need to tab them.
Yeah. I wish I had.
Yeah, those books are those books when like these 3. It was when I read and I'm so immersed in the world that when I stop reading, I'm still there for another 20 minutes. Like it takes you a minute to like be like, I am back in my life and this is But that's what I liked about it, because you lose time and you lose like everything, and you read every single word, and it feels like you were there for 5 minutes when you like look and you're like, I read for 3 hours. Where that's like a book to me is like, yes, like that writer could write anything, and I'm gonna read it.
Exactly. Like she definitely hit favorite status.
If you read a book and you forget you're reading it, that's the best kind. And I forgot I was reading it.
Yeah.
Oh, so good. So good.
Which brings us to the new book that'll be coming out in October, which I can't wait. But did you guys know that there's 4, I think it is, short stories?
So I knew about The Tailor because that's in the back of my paperback.
Oh, cool. I didn't know that was in there.
I don't. I just looked at my books like, you don't have that.
Yeah.
You betrayed me.
Apparently there's a Darkling novella, which I don't have.
Yeah, there's actually like 4 of them. One is called Little Knife, The Tailor. There's one like The Fox and something, and I don't know the other one. But I was like, when I was doing stuff today, I was like, wait, there's novellas? Like, I'm upset about this.
Right, no one talks about the novellas, though, which is so weird, because usually they're like a really main focal point, and no one mentions that, really.
I want them.
Maybe because there's not like a bind-up of them or something, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's harder to get your hands on them, but I'm tempted. But, again, don't have an e-reader, technically.
Well, the one I have the one link, Sam, for The Tailor, but you probably already read that because it's in your book.
I actually skipped it, which is weird because I wanted to be able to go back to it.
It's like nice to save it though, isn't it? Because it's not really over. You've got like a little bit left.
That's what I did. Where I was like, I'm just gonna wait, and I'm just gonna keep it for when I like want to again and have like a taste. But yeah.
Want to be in the Grisha world for a little bit.
Yeah. Pretty much.
You read them like before the spin-off to like get you back in the mindset.
I can't even really fully... Let's talk about the spin-off real quick. So I would, even if I hadn't read this series, like before I read the Grisha Trilogy, I already had the spin-off on my like to-be-read list on Goodreads because it was like Ocean's 11, and I was like...
Yeah, and Game of Thrones.
Yeah, it was like that combined in like the Grisha world, which I knew was Russian, and I was like, I am here for that. I'm so excited, but now it's like quadrupled because I'm just like so excited. And we're going to have all these characters. We're going to have like a whole band of characters, which I think Lee Bardugo does the whole like band cast of characters thing so well. Like with Ruin and Rising and the group we had in there. Like,
yeah.
So good. So it's going to be like that. And I'm just like, I'm so ready for it. I'm so ready for it.
Nikolai?
I hope so. I hope so.
You haven't even talked about him yet.
I know because I can't talk about him. It makes me so upset. Him and the Darkling make me so upset. And Alina.
Aww.
I'm just upset about them.
I just was so sure that he was going to be her man. Like
her everything.
Her everything. Because when you're reading the first one, you're like, oh, you've got the best friend who's a bit blah, and then vanilla, and then you've got like the Darkling, and he's like the sundae that's massive with all these flavors, and he's just too much. You just need something in the middle.
Right, he makes you sick because he's just like, there's so much, you can't really eat much of that. Yeah, you need like a nice
stomach cake.
Yeah, you need like a nice. What are we gonna do? Like a chocolate chunk,
Yeah,
like,
yeah. And
it's just enough.
And he was a chocolate chunk, and I thought, perfect.
Right. He was perfect.
Good. He's everything, and then he just didn't. I'm so mad.
I know.
I'm so upset by that, and now looking back, like obviously hindsight's 20/20. Looking back, yes, she always set up the books with like her and Mal at the beginning and the end, and all this stuff. And I've since been on Tumblr like nonstop. Like every night I look at the Shadow and Bone tag on Tumblr because I'm insane. And people are like, oh, it was so obvious that she wasn't going to end up with Nikolai because she always made a point to say that she never saw him that way and da-da-da-da. I was like, no, this would be a perfect example of, like, growing into, like, a mature relationship, which is what they could have had, and, like, like, growing it. Like, it doesn't need to be, like, I love the fiery, instant connection explosion that, like, her and the Darkling are. But there's other kinds of relationships, and having an example in a YA book of, like, they have this, like, friendship foundation, there's flirting, there's banter, they're both attracted to each other, and growing into, like, something really fiery and, like, slow burning and whatever would have been perfect. And we lost that for, like, stay with your first love. Your first love is the most important love of all loves. And I'm like, no, it's not. Like, so I hate the first love narrative. I hate the first love narrative. So that was just me not hating it.
Yeah, Nikolai, for me, he was for Alina compared to the Darkling and Mal. But then, now that I look back on it, like, even though they would match up and it'd be a great ending to the story and Queen and King and, like, all this stuff, at the same time, like, the way she, like, kind of treated him, like, saying, like, no, like, I don't know, like, the way she pushed him to the side, I'm like, he deserves better. Like, in a way, like, in a way, they're perfect in the Grisha Trilogy, like, world together, but now that we know that this next book coming out, he's going to be in. I don't know if he's, like, a main part, but we're going to see him in glimpses, and we may hear, like, the end of his story. I feel like there is somebody out there that may be better for, like, there's other fish in the sea, Nikolai, even though Alina, at the time, at this point, was good, but I just love Nikolai, so I wanted Alina to be with Nikolai because that's who I wanted to be with. I'm like,
pretty much. I was like, he's so perfect, he's so in between. But actually, and I mentioned this to you guys before, but since the ending of Ruin Rising, I've gone completely, like, Grisha, Alina, not Grisha, Darkling, Alina completely. Like, I've just been like, fuck it. And just gone all the way that way. Which in the books, when I was reading it, I was like, it's not going to work out. Don't ship it that much. You can ship it a little bit. But, like, don't get too invested. But now I'm just like, no, that's what I'm going to go with. Because it's just, like, if I don't get my middle ground, I'm just going to go all the way over into, like, crazy territory. And that's where I'm sitting now, happily, in crazy territory. And there's, like, little fan fictions everywhere, and it's really great. And it makes me happy. So I can pretend that, like, the end of Ruin Rising didn't happen.
Well, let's all pretend, because I didn't like it.
Right.
Like, it's an ending, but I was just kind of like, no, there was so much potential. There's so many ways you could take this novel and turn it and mold it, and the way it was almost writing itself, and then she kind of just, like, took it and I went, and, like, scooted it over, and I was like, what is this? What happened?
We lost Sarah Jane.
Oh, no, we lost Sarah Jane.
She'll come back.
She just drops off the ledge like Bagra. She just drops off.
Oh, don't even say that!
That's what she did at the bottom. The square just dropped.
Right, just gone. She'll be back.
Just boop. Yeah. Unlike Bagra, she'll be back.
Right. Stop it. My emotions. So, if anybody has any questions that they want to put in the Q&A while we're waiting for Sarah Jane to come back, we'd love to answer them when she gets back. So I don't know if anybody has any more, but that's an option.
Yeah, they can be related to the Grisha, or they can be like, have you guys read this series? Do you want to read this series? Like, because honestly, we had so much fun doing this together that we're planning to read the rest of, the 3 books of Sarah J. Maas. What was it, Crown of Midnight and Air of Fire?
Yep.
And the novellas, obviously. So if there's other ones that are out there that we haven't dove into, you know, or something.
Yeah.
Like, let us know, because
Exactly.
we're just crazy like that.
We're on it. I started Crown of Midnight last night, and I'm not going to talk about that much because it's not what this is about, but I started Crown of Midnight last night, and I'm like, you were going to bring me so much pain, and I'm not ready. Like, I almost was like, should we really read through? I mean, we need to read Throne of Glass, especially you and I, finish it up before we see Sarah J. Maas later this month. But yeah. I was still like, I'm not ready. After we recovered from this series, I'm like, I'm not ready for another fantasy to break my heart, and it's gonna.
But luckily this one isn't wrapped up, so you're still gonna have that little bit of hope and faith, and like,
it's true.
I can actually see behind you, your Crown of Midnight is gone. I'm stalker.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it's right. It's.
I was like, it's not even on the shelf anymore.
Yeah, it's working its way into my heart already, which I'm like, no, but yes.
This is so funny because actually, the Grisha Trilogy, Siege and Storm, and then I think Crown of Midnight are actually a series of books that are altering that second book, like, conundrum, that the second book of a series is like the worst, because I remember reading Harry Potter, and like that book, the second one is like one of my least favorites, and then what else was it? I liked Catching Fire, but what was the other?
I'm trying to think. There is
the other
one
was.
That I'm like really. Which one is it that everyone talks about? I mean, like, I didn't read the rest of Divergent, but I know when Insurgent came out, people were like, wah, wah.
Yeah, I didn't actually. I read Divergent, and I didn't like the ending of Divergent, so I tried like the first two chapters of Insurgent, and I was like, nope, and I just never finished it. And then I got spoiled, and I was like, well.
Right. Well, I guess I'm not reading any more of the Divergent series because I know how it ends. I've watched so many discussion videos on Allegiant that I like know everything about it, and yeah, like my best friend actually read the series recently, and she's like, you should really continue with Divergent, and I was like, I should really not because I know how it ends, and like, and it's not even the thing that everybody knows. It's like I know like literally all of the little like plot points. Like there's nothing would be new for me at this point. So I'm not. But I might watch the movies. But I don't like the movies that much. Oops. Like I just don't. I just don't.
I didn't watch any of them.
I don't like the main actress Shailene. Like I like her normally, but I didn't like her as Triss. Like I thought we could have had a better casting.
I didn't watch I didn't watch the movie, so I don't even.
Yeah, that's my thoughts on it.
But I read recently, back to the Grisha, that it was like 4 years ago or something. David Yates, I think it was, bought the rights to direct this movie, and I don't know if it was the Wikipedia, but it said like due out 2014, 2015. So then I went on the Internet Movie Database to be like, well, let's see, like, you know, what's going on. It just says like in production. Basically, there's like one blurb, so it's not coming out anytime soon. I'm like, why? Why haven't we worked on this, David Yates? Let's go.
Right. Oh, so
yay! Did you miss me?
Yes. We were talking about Divergent while you were gone.
Hi, Sana.
My router broke, so I have to keep resetting it, so I'm going to have to get send me a new one. So if I drop out again, that's what's happening. So it's not actually my internet, it's my router. So
that sucks.
Yes. So yeah, there I was talking about ice cream and dropped me out.
Right. That's so funny.
Well, we were talking about possibly the movie coming out of Shadow and Bone, because David Yates had bought the rights to direct it, or someone had the rights, and they presumed that David Yates was going to direct it, and it was going to be out 2014, 2015, and obviously here we are, and there is nothing happening.
Right.
Yeah, I try not to take things being optioned, like as much as I want to get excited about it, so many things are actually optioned to block other things coming out.
Yeah.
Like sometimes a company will buy the rights because they've got rights for another thing, and they don't want someone else to snap up the rights to like go against something else they're bringing out. So that is something that actually happens. So
they just monopolize, you mean? Like they just buy all these rights to all these things so that nobody can have it?
Well, yeah. Like say someone's like got the Hunger Games coming out, and then there's something else that could be similar. The same company might buy it because it stops someone else challenging what they're doing, or they might do it because they might want to do it one day.
Right.
You know, and so yeah, I would love to see it happen, but there's been a lot of things that have been optioned that I get really excited about, and then it doesn't happen. So.
I know. At least you can hold out hope, though.
Yes.
For this one, because I was a kind of, when we were reading the books, I was like, I don't really want a movie. The books are so good. I don't want a movie. Da 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 da. And then the ending came, and I was like, it wasn't even the ending. It was just like the books are over now, and I was like, but I want more. So
yeah,
now I
that's
kind of
why.
yeah, now I kind of want the movies. But do we have any like fan? Like I'm really bad at picturing people in my head for characters. But do we have any fan casts that we've thought of?
No, I didn't have any. I kind of wanted whoever is going to be Nikolai has to have the sass factor. If they do not, if they cast that person without the sass factor, I'm going to be so angry because yes, he's good looking and yes, he's rugged a little bit because he's, this pirate or whatever, but if he doesn't have the sass factor, I'm going to be so angry.
Yeah.
I'm going to be so angry.
Yeah.
I can see them in my head, like visually, I can see all the characters, but I can't pin them to anyone because they're just people that I've made up in my head.
Yeah. The only one that that was a perfect
for me,
Wait, what?
Go ahead.
The only one that was perfect for me was the Darkling and Sean O'Pry or whatever, that model.
Oh.
That is in all of every single fan cast has him because he's so perfect. He's so hot, and he has this chiseled, beautiful face, and he's all dark and intense. Oh, he's all angles, just angles. You could cut yourself on that face, and it's just oh my gosh. And then he has the dark his eyebrows and the way he looks out from under. I mean,
he's the guy from Blank Space, isn't he? The
yes.
music video.
No.
Yeah. He's very well just yes.
Amen to you.
Yeah.
There is a blank space for him.
Yeah. He is the Darkling to me. But everybody else, I don't have a very clear I'm really bad at picturing people faces for characters in my head. I never, even when I have descriptions, I can have the most beautiful description of all time. And I'm still just they're blonde. And that's it. That's all I have.
For me,
I can imagine them, but sometimes I change it if I don't like it.
yes, Sarah Jane, that's what I do. Or for me, the Darkling they describe, obviously he has dark, he's chiseled, everything like that. But at the same time, to me, I just picture a cloked figure whose face I don't see a lot because he's got a big cloak,
I saw his face.
Here, so I just dark. He's really dark, it's just shadow.
Yeah, I don't picture characters' faces. I can picture them from the back, which sounds weird, but I can picture them, if I'm looking at them walking away, I can picture, their body type and, how they look from the back, how their hair is from the back. It's weird. Or I can picture, kind of a side profile, and that's it. I can't get full-on actual facial anything.
See, I imagine them vividly, and then they stick like that in my head. It's like it's a play in my head, and they are who they are. And if anybody tries to change that, if I get them in my head and then it's actually made into a film or something, I find it really hard to imagine the real person. Well, not real person, but the person who's been cast.
Right.
Yeah. I saw the Darkling.
So hot. Sana was saying that she always saw Adelaide Kane as Alina, and so I'm gonna look her up right now because
I need to.
Girl from.
Oh, she's from Rain.
Is she the girl from?
Oh my God! Yes, I love her, Sana. That is the perfect. She is Alina. That's. Mm-hmm. The only thing I would picture different, and I don't know why, is that Alina would have lighter eyes, but that might just be my stupid brain telling me what not what it's actually supposed to look like.
She was a bit more mousy, wasn't she? So she probably have lighter hair and kind of a bit more mousy, but facially,
that's
perfect. Mm-hmm. When she comes into her power, she look like that.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's what she does.
Yeah.
I'm like that.
Yeah, that would be perfect.
Yeah, I just picture her really skinny too, just really sunk in. Just because I always picture her when she was still kind of sick. Cause I feel half the book she was sick, always sick. So, but then I knew then I had her being really pretty in my head too at times. But it was she's always sick.
Wait,
she always has bags under her eyes.
I wonder who people think of
Jensen
Nikolai.
Eccles as Nikolai. Who's that? I need to do it right now.
Supernatural, right? Isn't that the guy from Supernatural?
Okay, I could see that. I could see
saying?
She said Jensen Eccles as Nikolai.
I don't see that. I see a guy who somebody said he'd be like Warner from
That's my
Shattered.
picture too.
And
That's my picture too. Yeah.
that guy.
Who?
Do you know the guy I mean?
Yes, I'm trying to remember his name.
No.
He's in Weeds. Let me look it up real quick.
Who are you talking about?
I'm Googling.
Hunter Parrish. Hunter Parrish. Hunter Parrish.
Oh yeah, I think they look
picture.
similar. I think Hunter Parrish and Jason Eccles kind of look similar. Like they got that blondish-y, goldish, dark hair.
He could so be Nikolai.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
That's the thing though, is he's Hunter Parrish is also my like perfect Warner from Shatter Me. So it's like, can he be both? Yes.
Can you just do all the parts?
Because I think he's just so perfect for both of those characters because they're both kind of like sassy characters, honestly. Warner is like such a grump.
Well,
It's that
I don't know.
witty
I never read Shatter Me.
Kristen,
I haven't read it yet. I'm waiting. I know.
Go read it right now. Well, you know what you're gonna do after we finish Air of Fire is read Shatter Me.
I know. See, the reason I've been waiting is because I have Ignite Me in the hardback, and I'm waiting for Shatter Me in the new cover hardback to come out so I can get it. But it's like, it never is like happening. I'm like, when is this?
Right.
What is this world? So I need, because I knew you guys, like, I'm not sure, I've mentioned it a couple times on my channel, but I was like, I don't think they've ever, like, really picked up on it, because you guys are always talking about it. And I'm just in the back,
denial.
Like,
we're in denial that no one else, like, everyone's read Shatter Me in my head. I'm like, why wouldn't you read Shatter Me? Everyone's read Shatter Me. Like, that's how my head works. Oh, so good.
Yep, sorry.
But yeah, visually, I imagine them to be quite similar, and I think for Nikolai is more. I think visually he'd be quite not easy to cast, but I think visually he would because it's more his sass, isn't it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I picture like somebody they have to like walk right because I picture him with like a swagger.
Yes.
And so I'm like, you have to walk appropriately. Like
pirate swagger.
Yeah. Yeah, you have to kind of pretty much walk like the guy from Once Upon a Time that plays Hook.
Yes.
What's that guy's name? Colin O'Donoghue or whatever. So good looking. You have to walk like him because that's like the perfect pirate sassy walk.
Yeah. We have him in our heads. He's just not. We just haven't found him yet.
Right.
We will.
We will.
We're like all creepy. Like,
we'll find you.
So good. Oh my god.
All right. What else do we want to? What?
I said we have our dream cast, sort of.
We do.
Like to me, like Alina, Nikolai, the Darkling, Mal, like whatever. Like I feel like Mal's kind of like the
He
generic.
could be a sack of potatoes. I'm not really that bothered.
He's the generic guy. I think
he'd be really easy to cast. I feel like I've seen a lot of people saying Sebastian Stan, but I feel like Sebastian Stan's too old. Like, not that he's an old person, he's not. But, like,
I just realized
he looks
something.
too old.
You know, I was saying that I do visually imagine every character. I didn't for him. I just.
No, it was just me. It was just like
you pictured a potato
dude with blonde hair.
A sack of
like,
potatoes.
That's all I got.
Yeah.
With
I even forgot that he was
tattoo.
blonde. Oh, that stupid tattoo.
What was it? I
don't know. It's
something.
It's so
I
dumb.
am become the blade.
Yeah.
I am the sack of potatoes.
Yeah, I am a sack of potatoes.
Like,
I am the side character that should have been gone during chapter 2.
Should have died.
When he died, though, I was like, oh, that was interesting, because I didn't think that was going to happen. Well, not when he died, when I thought he died.
Right.
And I thought, that's interesting, because I didn't think that was actually going to happen. And I was like, ooh. And then he came back again. And then it happened in the end book, and I was like, oh, that's good. Oh, no, he's back again. He's like a cockroach.
Yeah. It's like Harry Potter, but not. He just keeps coming back to life, but we don't want him to. We're like, stop it. Just die.
Yeah.
No, he was like, I was kind of like mad that he was saved again or something, like that he came back. Like, I was kind of upset about it. I was like, you died, be dead now. Like, stop coming back.
I think it takes away the sacrifice. It's not a sacrifice if you come back, and the whole idea was that she was meant to lose something to gain this power, and to then have him come back, and then she then loses her power, it was all so convenient, and the whole book had never ever been convenient. And so it kind of went back on everything that we'd come to believe.
Right.
I just feel like if it's a sacrifice for a reason, and to get that thing back, it stops being a sacrifice, I think.
Yeah.
So,
and when we've had we've had like warnings about resurrection and stuff like the whole last 2 books about how like this was kind of like, you know, nature's way of kind of punishing Morzova or whatever, how you say his name, for bringing his kid back, and then we bring Mal back, and like there's no kind of punishment for that. Like it's just he's back and everything's fine, and they can be happy and live together and blah, blah, blah. And I just I would have liked. Again, I would have liked Mal and the Darkling to both have died, and Alina just to be like, nah. That would have been great. I would have loved Alina and the Darkling to die. That would have been like the most. I think that was honestly my perfect ending. Yeah, I wanted her with Nikolai, but I think them killing each other because they're like calls to like, and they're like kind of opposites, and they're just like perfect. Them dying together would have been the perfect.
Yeah, it's not necessarily like being morbid or like saying, oh, I want one of my favourite characters to die, but because of the whole like calls to like thing and the whole, you know, when he says there's none like us and there never will be, it's almost like maybe there's not meant to be 2 people like them. Maybe they're not meant to be, and so they weren't meant to be together. They weren't meant to even exist, and I kind of that could have been a lot easier to take. It would have been much more intense, much more dramatic, and the books were so dramatic that it kind of went up, 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 up.
Right. Like, what was that? Yeah.
Yeah. Ordinary. I don't like ordinary. Vanilla.
I know, and yeah, stop being vanilla. So then I saw Sana's question here from Inkbone's books. She said, how did you guys feel about Mal coming back to life being an amplifier? And that's what we're kind of saying, like, it was when we were discussing the book, I remember talking to you two and being like, oh, isn't it kind of ironic, but not that we have a flying ship, and then in book 3 we are going to find the bird, you know, like, so that was nice, like, because she didn't just say in book 3 we have to go find a bird, oh, and we have a flying ship. So I was like complimenting her on being able to slip things in and not make it so obvious. But then when Mal dies and then he just comes back to life, I'm like, well, that's too convenient now. Like, you just made that really convenient.
I liked him
that doesn't because find a firebird with a flying ship that was introduced in book 2. Oh, did we lose her? Oh no, I thought we lost you, Sarah Jane.
I'm still here.
Okay.
I have to keep moving so you don't think I froze.
It's fine. I just thought, you know, that was too convenient for him to just come back to life. Like, I mean, you don't want all the characters to die, but I felt like Mal dying and then again the Darkling and Alina offing each other, you know, that would have been kind of the ending, and that's what I thought we were going towards, and it would have wrapped it all up kind of in a way. So
I liked him
too convenient.
I felt like having him as the amplifier was a really, really good twist, and I felt like it made it a lot more brutal, because obviously we had them finding the stag, we had them finding the sea whip, so to then find the firebird, it was almost like we've kind of had these journeys, these 2 journeys twice already. So I was kind of like, do I really want this 3rd journey? And the whole like, oh, I don't want to kill it because it's an animal, well, can I, you know, it's like that same story. So to have him be the 3rd amplifier, I thought was really, really clever. I thought it was a good plot twist, and I felt like that plot twist was then lessened with him coming back. Like, if it was he's the amplifier, he has to be sacrificed, it's like, whoa, that's original, that's unique. And then the fact he could come back, it was like, oh, that's not that much of a big deal then.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, you're just going to live anyways at the end, so you just sacrifice yourself whenever.
Yeah.
Yeah. And again, like, the question, like, I feel like it didn't make sense. We thought that as well, didn't we? Because, like, we had these lessons that we've been taught, you know, you shouldn't bring someone back to life, and then he was brought back to life. So it kind of, with that backstory, it didn't gel properly. It didn't seem believable. And it felt too convenient.
Yeah. And that's kind of how I feel about any, like, resurrection plotline. Like, I'm thinking of the Vampire Diaries right now for anybody that watches it. But certain shows, especially, bring back characters, Supernatural too, bring back characters all the time. And it's like, it doesn't make the deaths mean anything when you bring a character back. And especially because Mal got brought back so quickly. Like, I feel like if he would have died in, like, maybe even like book 2 and then been brought back after like a lot of turmoil and like sacrifice, maybe then I'd be like, all right, I'll allow it, you know. But when it was just like, he was dead for like what, 2 paragraphs, and then it's like, I heard him breathe, and it's like, no.
I just went, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can do the Darkling braids too, because I would sign up for that. Like.
Yeah. I think I just felt like there was no repercussions for resurrection, and I think there should be. I think if someone's brought back to life, there should be repercussions.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a slogan. There should be repercussions for
right.
But there should be.
Well, yeah, that I always think about Harry Potter with the Beetle and the Bard and the three brothers. The brothers, I forget what they call them, but the one wants to resurrect his wife, and then she comes back, but she's not really living. You know, she's just like this corpse who like hates life and everything. And that's what I expect. I don't know if that's because it's been drilled into my head that it's not okay to bring something back. Like, you know, maybe that's like a thing, you know, that we think about, that like, oh, you can't come back from the dead, so you can't come back from the dead. Like,
Yeah.
But
the genie wouldn't do it in
like,
Aladdin, you know?
Yeah, but it was too convenient.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sorry. But it was just, like we were saying, it's just too convenient. There wasn't like anything in this world building up to where it could possibly occur, you know, and it would be okay, or there would be maybe a little bit of a problem. It was just like, oh, he's back, and here we go.
Right, and they can live happily ever after, the end.
Yeah.
I hate them.
You're so
it sounds like we didn't love it, but we did. But it's just sometimes you could love something so much, and it kind of makes the flaws even more annoying.
Right.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think a book is, when it makes this discussion like this, it is, because it's like an onion. There's so many layers.
Right.
Even though I hate onions, but
parfaits.
We have to compare books to food. We just have to.
Right.
You have to.
What happens. So, with the ending of Ruin Rising, what are our predictions for Six of Crows?
Nikolai's story is not over. I didn't feel like, why would you introduce a character, getting a cough, why would you introduce a character in book 2 to not be her love interest? And I'm not saying that's all a book should be, but he did not live up to his potential, so there's got to be more there.
See, I thought in Six of Crows, now this might have been a couple months ago or a month ago, I read the synopsis that it's about like a group of teenagers that are fighting. There's like a heist or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
They're doing something. So I think, like, for me, Nikolai is either going to come in a little later and like kind of pirate, not meaning actually pirate, but like lead the group into like, you know, righteousness or something. Yeah. And I hope he finds something, you know, along the lines of love, or, you know, a companion. Right. But I don't know. I don't think it's going to be focused on Nikolai based on the synopsis. But, I mean, if it is, I'll be excited.
Right.
I want him to find someone who he loves because of who he loves, not because of, like, politics or because of, like, being his queen. I want him to find someone who he wants. And maybe that person wouldn't make a good queen, and that's why it would be interesting. That could be nice. Because we've got another question. Like, do we think we'll see Alina again? And be like part of the politics, the magical world? I'd love that, because I felt like that's what I didn't like about the ending. I felt like she went back into the background and into ordinary, and I didn't like that. And I feel like she had so much potential, and it was like saying that without your powers, you're nothing. So, or like without your powers, you can't be part of this group. And even though they said you're always one of us, I wanted to see her still be this like kick-ass person without her powers. So I would love to see her again, but I don't think we're going to.
I don't think we're going to either, just because of the way that the epilogue was, because they had it be like kind of told over numerous years without her being woven in anywhere else. And granted, that could change. I'm not sure, is the Six of Crows, the Dregs series, going to be a trilogy or a series? We know?
I don't know.
Because if it would be like a series, then that'd be like more potential later on for her to show up. But if it's only going to be 3 books, I don't think we're going to see her.
Unless they see her in that part of the epilogue where, you know, where they like turn up at like Christmas and they give her like a kefta and stuff like that. Unless that part is a plot point and we only see a snippet of it in the epilogue, but it's actually part of a story in the main one.
I think it's just us holding on to hope, actually. I don't think.
I can feel the straws I'm clutching at.
Right.
I just Googled it real quick just to see, and it says that where the heck did it just go? It said that it's a 2-book deal. So the series is told over. Oh no, that's something else. But it says, oh no, a video is popping up. A 2-book deal. So I don't know if that just means it will be a duology, or they're just dealing for the first 2, and then it could be trilogy series.
I think they're just giving her the deal for the first 2.
She's contracted for 2 books.
Yeah, but why would you do that? It's Leigh Bardugo. She needs to just write all the books. So
I know.
What are you doing, Henry Holt?
Seriously. But I'm really excited about everything having to do with that. It's cool because apparently it's taking place in that one island that's down at the very bottom. When you're looking at the book, it's the bottom left.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That is. Yeah. I'm excited. Because a lot of times in the map that we saw in Ruin and Rising and She's in Storm, we only got a snippet. We got that one other area, and that's it. And I was like, why are there all these places on this map that we're not even seeing? And it's like, oh, you're going to bring it up in the next series, aren't you?
Which I think is awesome because, it's smart to marketing for an author to create this whole entire world and already know that, in certain spots, this is what's going to happen, and they may overlap, even if we get a glimpse. Because it's obvious it's going post Grisha, Alina story, but you're still maybe going to get, not maybe, we're not going to see Alina, but you might hear, they'll say something about the Sun Summer, and it'll be like, oh, it's Alina, I know who that is. So
it's meant to take place, directly or, straight after Ruin and Rising, I think. So that means it would be people would still be talking about it. So even if we don't get to see her, I think she'll still be part of the story. She'll be backstory, if you know what I mean.
I mean, she's kind of part of their religion now, honestly. So she's gonna probably be popping up.
She is Saint Alina.
Yeah.
I'd like to see there be a few repercussions for her faking her death. That would be potentially really interesting. If if that was a storyline and she wasn't involved in it, but it was they were dealing with it, or Nikolai was dealing with it, or something. Maybe he sees this new woman, and she's like, oh, you still feel for her, and she's dead, and he's can't tell her that she's not dead or something. That could potentially be interesting if he did get a love interest. I don't know. I'm really going off on a tangent, but this could happen.
It could happen, and that's what's so great about this spin-off series. It's so nice that this isn't really over, because I'd be so brokenhearted if it's we don't get any more Grisha World. Which I know at one point we're going to be we're not going to get any more Grisha World. But, we can hold on a little bit longer. And the thieves, it's thieves, and I'm so here for that. I'm so here for thieves.
When I read the spin-offs, I was like, Sam's going to love this. Because I know she likes pirates, and I know Sarah Jane does too. And I was like, this is the perfect series for the three of us to just read. This was the perfect one. If we had started with something else, it might not have gelled into what this is right now. So I was like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
I just want to read it now.
I know. I'm not oh my gosh, I can't even wait until October. And it's don't rush the summer, Samantha. But I'm but 6 Crows.
But I just
that would be a book that I would literally start when it comes through the post. It won't be a case of putting it on my shelf and waiting. It will be, it's here, let's read.
Right. Let's, don't get spoiled for anything.
That's going to be the one I read. I get it, and I'm I'm going to read it too fast, I know it.
Right. Yeah. I can't even do an unboxing, guys. I just need to be I read this today. It came
It'll be an unripping.
Right? Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Ready.
Scavenging it open.
Well, are there any last-minute questions that we wanted to talk about, or anything we wanted to hit on? We've covered a lot of it.
I think I've said everything that I'd thought about, so I guess unless somebody else has anything that they want us to talk about, but I think we've covered everything. We've covered all the feels.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only thing I have is that we can do the Grisha quiz if you want to go to GrishaTrilogy.com. There's a quiz on her website, so go to GrishaTrilogy.com, and even the people watching can take it too.
That's a really good thing to end on.
I don't know how many questions there is. I'm assuming there's only 10, but I read the little thing, and you just basically find out what Grisha you are. So I thought it'd be fun if we take it together real quick.
Yeah.
Quiz. Which Grisha are you? Oh, perfect. Oh, this is gonna be this is funny because it's the questions where you know if you answer a certain way that you're gonna get a certain kind of Grisha. So no one cheat.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, but I always answer truthfully. I'll read the first one. So it says, "What is the ideal day? Surfing, swimming, maybe a hike. I prefer a night of quiet scheming, a stroll through the wilds of, oh boy, Tisbea?
Tisbea.
An afternoon of shopping, watching an entire series of Teen Wolf." Sarah Jane, that's probably your answer.
I've never watched Teen Wolf.
Just leave me alone with my tea.
That's
you don't?
Me. No, I don't watch it.
I'm going to do a stroll through the wilds.
I'm going to say leave me alone with my tea.
I'm gonna say Teen Wolf, but I've never watched Teen Wolf. So I'm gonna change it to like something on Netflix.
Oh,
Okay.
but now, oh yeah, but if that was something else, that's why. Oh, you've confused me now. Oh.
Too late.
No, I'm doing T. I'm doing T.
All right, Sarah Jane, you read the next one.
When it comes to movies, I like buddy comedies, anything with great cinematography, anything with great fight scenes, anything with great costumes, science fiction, or political thrillers.
Oh gosh.
Mine's gonna be great cinematography.
Yeah,
Period.
I think that's what I'm gonna be too. Yeah. Okay. All on the same level. All right. My friends would say that at my worst, I'm vain, insecure, manipulative, aggressive, self-absorbed, and competitive.
Mm-hmm.
So this is going to be very indicative of how we are.
Wait, what did you say? It like zonked out for a second.
My friends would say that I'm at that. I can't read this. That at my worst, I'm vain, insecure, manipulative, aggressive, self-absorbed, competitive. So
What
tell
we going
everybody
for?
how bad we are. I'm saying aggressive.
Oh, mine's competitive. Totally.
Yeah, I'm saying aggressive because it's not that I'm actually aggressive, but if I get really angry about something, I just will not let it go, and yeah, I have outbursts.
Yeah,
Mine's totally competitive. I will not lose. Like I will win. I'm gonna win.
Competitive would be like my next one, you know, like it was sort of all when I was like I wanted to say competitive and it was like no, Sarah Jane, be honest. Be honest.
Yeah, aggressive is totally me as well.
Oh,
okay,
the next
one. My friends would say that at my best, I'm generous, charming, creative, brave, loyal, focused.
Loyal.
I don't know.
Mine.
I'm creative.
I was gonna say charming.
Yeah, you are charming, and you're loyal.
Oh, thank you. It was funny. My best friend's mom, she in college, my friend tore her ACL and she had to come to college back like 2 days after she had surgery. And she was really like, her mom was really nervous because she's on crutches, like she has to get her stitches out, she has to go to all these appointments. And I was like, don't worry, like I'll take care of her. And then like months later, her mom came to me and was like, listen, I was so happy that you were there because I was afraid because her mom was like 2 hours away. You know, and she's like, you're just such a good caretaker for her. And I was like, there's no problem. What am I going to do? Leave my best friend or a roommate lay on her bed and not eat and go anywhere? Like, come on.
Aww.
Do I have a soul? Like,
yeah.
All right. Go ahead, Sarah Jane.
Yeah, I'm definitely going for creative.
Oh, no.
Because, yeah. All the stuff I do, like jewelry making, writing, creative, yeah.
Yeah, true.
Mine's loyal, because I have very similar stories to Kristen, where it's like one of my best friends is chronically in the ER, not because she's like a sick person, although she can be, but she's like, she falls all the time. Like she'll just fall and break something, like all the time. So I'm always in the ER, like carting her around.
Aww.
Not recently, but because she hasn't fallen in a while. But like and then she would always get like something like some weird. What she had? She just had pneumonia like over the winter because she just is chronically in the ER.
Aww.
So,
yeah, I like the loyal one because I think like especially I don't know if this is just a trait for people that read books, but you know what I mean. Like if you're sort of a bit more introverted, a bit more, I do think people like that can be a bit more loyal because you're, you know, like. If anybody ever said anything about any of like my friends or whatever, I'd just be like, that's when the aggressive will come out.
Right, exactly.
I'm aggressive.
Oh, the next one looks good.
All right, next one. Go ahead, Sarah Jane. You want to read it?
Which Grisha are you? I look best in red, blue, purple, black, or you pick, or hard to say, I look good in everything.
Black.
I look better in black, and that's the truth.
Mine's black or blue, but it's a certain kind of blue, so I'm going to go with blue.
Okay, I like black because it's easy to match. Black with black.
Ooh, the next one.
Sam, you want to read it?
Okay. Okay. My idea of a great view is a stormy sea, a starry night, a mirror, a meadow, a desert, or an iconic skyline. Probably Starry Night is mine. Or Skyline.
Starry Night. Mine's Starry Night, and this is I I had astronomy in college, and I had known all the constellations in the northern hemisphere, which I thought was like the coolest thing ever. And my professor put me in an article in a newspaper.
Oh, that's so funny.
And it was like, she can name all the constellations, and I was like, this is so weird.
And it's you, and you're like, hey, look at
I had this like laser pointer that he gave me, which it was like a green one, and it could shoot so many miles. So like we would stand outside, and I could point to like the star, and he's like, if there's planes that go by, he's like, you can't point at the planes. He's like, because it might like mess something up. I was like, what?
Oh my gosh.
But he was joking. He was joking.
See, I don't know what any are. I don't know what any are, but I think it's pretty. So.
I don't know many anymore. Don't ask me.
Oh, you guys want to do the next one?
Sure, I'll read it. What is your secret hobby? Flower arranging, torture, map making, playing with fire, perusing anatomy text, or metallurgy?
None of these. I mean, like...
I think, I don't know. I would say I arrange flowers.
Yeah, right? Like, that's the most normal one.
Yeah, and even though I'm not, like, I wouldn't arrange flowers, I do make stuff with flowers, so I'm like, does that count? Yeah.
I mean, I could do perusing anatomy text because I teach anatomy and physiology, but I don't really peruse it. I just get information and leave.
You're not,
I'm pretty sure I don't play with fire.
Yeah, and no one knows what metallurgy is.
Oh, flower arranging is what it's going to have to be, but that's just so blah.
It is.
It should be like, I don't know, going...
the next question's funny.
Something.
All right, Sarah Jane.
At a party, you'll most likely find me gossiping in the kitchen, mixing up something crazy at the bar, holding court among my many admirers, demanding that the couch be moved so we can dance. I never said the word couch. Putting the couch back because this isn't a dance party. Talking intently with my best friend. Do you know what? I know what mine is, and it's so embarrassing.
Which one?
It's putting the couch back, because when I actually had a party when I was a teenager, we had this like bit of the fireplace that came out on the floor, and someone moved it, and I got really angry, and I was like, "You put that back!" And like I was walking through the house with this big piece of like the fireplace, dragging it back.
That's so funny.
Even though I had a great time, that's probably what I would do.
Right.
Or mixing up something crazy at the bar.
That's my answer.
Mine's mixing something crazy. Yep.
Mm.
I don't even want to go back to... I mean, we're all, like, the old ladies of BookTube, so we can say this because we're all of age. But, man, when I was, like, even before I was 21, making, like, house party drinks, let me tell you, don't remember a lot of that. So,
That's great.
I don't hardly drink at all anymore, but when it was like, when I was at uni, it was like, oh, whole bottle of wine, now let's go out. Now it's like one glass.
Right. Let's make a mixed drink. Vodka.
Just kidding.
Like that's, yep.
Yeah. But yeah, I just, even though I just know that I would be the person dragging stuff back, and I just think that's so funny, I've got to pick it. Even though it could easily be other stuff.
At least you're honest.
Yep.
I love having parties, like at somebody else's house, I'll be fine. But if it's my house, I get really like, I'm like, you step away from that.
Right, that will break.
I got really angry once because someone went through my cupboards and they were like, oh, look at this. I was like, get away from my cupboard.
That's so funny.
Don't touch that.
But yeah.
All right, next question is, love is built on shared experience, a temptation for the weak, unpredictable like the weather, beautiful if you can find it, hard to quantify, and easy if you know how the heart works.
Unpredictable like the weather. I quite like that one, but I don't know if I'm going to...
See, that's the thing. I like that one, but in real life, I don't like that one. Like, but in, like, fiction and stuff, like, I'm all about that one. But I'm too tired for that, like, actual life.
I'd probably be, like, hard to quantify.
I think I might do built on shared experience. I'm a fan of the slow burn.
Oh, nice. Mine's going to be beautiful if you can find it.
Aww.
Well, it is.
I know. Some of these are like, oh, cute. Okay.
Aww. Yeah, I'm going for unpredictable like the weather, because...
Oh, this is the last one. Okay. Romances, world domination,
Oh my gosh.
skipping stones at Tripka's pond.
Oh.
Sorry, what?
Oh.
Hours spent next to each other working on the same project. Fireworks, or a dance in which I take the lead.
I'm gonna say fireworks for romance
Yeah, same.
because that's a different.
I was gonna say
show results. Show results.
I was gonna say hours spent working on the same project. Ready?
Oh.
Show results.
Who am I?
Oh my!
I'm ethereal. I can never say the names. Ethereal Nick.
Me too.
Yeah.
Oh, I got the Darkling.
That's funny. How did all your answers get the Darkling? That's so funny.
And out of all
I don't
three
know.
of us, you would honestly think that it would like probably be like me or Sam, not you.
Right.
Like, you know, us.
Yeah,
with our,
that's
like,
what I was like. Why did I get the Darkling?
Right.
That's why you guys like. That's why you like me. Okay, so this is what the Darkling says. It says, "You are the Darkling, ruthless, charismatic, and secretive. You're an expert at reading the intentions and desires of others, but your own heart is a harder puzzle to solve." And it says, "My power is the ability to summon and manipulate darkness, human amplifier."
Look at that. Perfect.
Wow.
That is honestly the funniest outcome that ever could have happened.
I'm the Darkling.
I would never have guessed that one for you. That's so funny. Yeah, with
Ethereal Nick.
Ethereal Nick, is that how you say it?
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah. Ambitious, adventurous, and outgoing, your gifts may lie in the manipulation of combustible gases for Inferni, water, Tidemaker, or air currents and pressure squalor. Ethereal key frequently work in pairs, so once you identify your specific power, make sure to use a buddy system, so we will be our pair.
So basically, we work for Kristen.
Pretty much.
We're like her entourage.
Right?
Hey, I will lead you into a better
battle.
light, though, than the Darkling did.
That's funny. Alright guys, that was fun.
Yeah.
So, we'll probably end up doing this for when we finish like Air of Fire. Possibly. You know?
Yeah.
So, because I'm sure we'll do another one before we end up reading Six of Crows. So, yeah, look forward to our feels for Air of Fire, because I hear there's a lot of them. Will probably be broken again.
Yeah, and I hear there's going to be May, so I'm very excited about this.
There is. Yeah.
Woohoo!
Excited. Alright. See everybody later.
Bye. Thanks for watching. Bye. Bye.